Same time, put me in, coach. Today we are talking about Ben Simmons demanding a trade from the 76ers. The Sixers now have 5 problems that they must deal with now. Number 1, wait, before we get into that, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video like an assist because we are talking basketball. Now on this channel, you will get basketball IQ, so Kevin Durant can't tell you don't know basketball. So number 1 is they now have to build around Joel Embiid and his injury history. Good luck with that because you're going to need a superstar. Number 2 is the distractions that this is going to cause if they allow this to draw out any longer than it already has. Now, team chemistry is the most important thing that is going to be systematically broken apart. And that's not going to help them win. It's actually going to help them lose more games. Number 3 is, are the Sixers likely to get a fair trade for Ben Simmons? Possibly yes. Likely no. There's not any 6'10" point guards in NBA history that is demanding to be traded after they took him as their number 1 pick. Whew, not a good look at all. Number 4 are the teams. And this is dangerous for Ben Simmons because if he's not careful, he could end up with OKC, the Pistons, Cleveland, or Orlando. And then number 5 is because he demanded his trade now, they have to trade him now. Do you see what happened to the Rocket? If you look at James Harden and Anthony Davis, when they left those teams crumbled. Number 1, Joel Embiid has a long history of missing games, right? So much so that his average is 20 games per season. Joel Embiid usually doesn't come in shape, and they're going to have to build around him being injured. That's his history, his makeup. That's who he is. So you have to get a superstar that can actually carry a team when Joel Embiid is out injured, because they're in the Eastern Conference with the Bucks, who just won the championship, and they have 3 guys. Number 2, the main distraction that this is going to cause involves their team chemistry. The older teams usually win because guys know their role. On younger teams, guys usually don't know their role because they just got drafted. They know that the franchise is literally resting upon their shoulders, but it's weighing them down because they have to figure out how to play the game. They have to figure out what they're more effective at doing, and hoping that their coach is a guy who allows them to be who they are, because there's been a lot of guys who's been unlucky because the coach wanted them to do things that player didn't do well. The team is going to have to constantly answer questions, so they're going to have to speak for Ben Simmons a lot. And there's going to be a parting of way, team Ben Simmons, and then you're going to have people that are team Embiid. And the reason why is because if Ben Simmons is the point guard, a lot of those players are going to understand that their success is tied to what Ben Simmons does. Number 3, a fair trade. Is that likely to happen for the Sixers? My first mind is telling me hell no, but my second mind is saying it is possible. But they would have to get a superstar. The only superstar that we know that's available at this particular time is Damian Lillard, but he has not asked to be traded. So the next guy that's being looked at is Draymond Green and CJ McCollum, right? But neither one of those guys, in my estimation, is a fair trade for Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons is young, tall, strong, athletic, known for playing defense, and is a distributor of the basketball. Right now, the only guy that makes sense to me as far as those attributes are concerned is a Draymond Green. But the problem with Draymond Green is he's older and he's not as athletic. And he's also not capable of running a team, especially when a guy like Joel Embiid is injured. Ben Simmons is also a top 15 to 20 player in the NBA. So are they going to trade for any one of those guys that are in the top 20? Anything is possible, but it's very unlikely. Number 4, Ben Simmons has to be careful. He could end up with one of the bottom feeders in the NBA. Now, a few teams that do make sense, the Kings, if they can trade for De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield, they should get an amazing young point guard and a guy who can shoot the ball. And I believe, having a great point guard, a shooter, and a big man with Tobias Harris, that might be a good fit for them. If they could get Draymond and Andrew Wiggins. I would not, if I'm the Warriors, I wouldn't want to give up James Wiseman because he's going to be a great center for you. Do the Sixers want to do that? CJ McCollum or Dame Lillard. Now, Dame Lillard and Embiid will be a better fit. Also, CJ McCollum is very, very good. But the fact that he doesn't really distribute the basketball means that it's either going to be CJ scoring or Embiid scoring. What happens to CJ McCollum when Joel Embiid misses his 20-plus game? On Undisputed and First Things First, I heard Chris Broussard and Nick Wright talking about possibly trading Kyrie, and that doesn't make sense from the standpoint for the Sixers, right? Do you want a Kyrie Irving who is going to get hurt? Because once again, he has the same history that Joel Embiid has, which is at some point in time, they're going to be injured, kind of like Chris Paul. But, I mean, it's fun when you think about what Brooklyn could do with Ben Simmons. But when you're thinking about Kyrie, I personally wouldn't do it. Number 5 is now the elephant in the room. The Sixers must trade Ben Simmons. When James Harden left and when AD left the Rockets, they got the number 2 pick. When AD left the Pelicans, they got the number 1 pick. So what I'm saying is, it's time for them to go ahead and trade Ben Simmons. Maybe they get top 3 pick now. But if they don't, they're going to have some problems. And they're actually going to take a couple steps back. Probably be somewhere in the 4 to 6 range, because you got the Milwaukee Bucks, you have the Brooklyn Nets, the Heat, the Hawks, the Knicks, the Celtics. The Sixers is going to be flirting somewhere around, 3 to 6, right? After making this trade. So hopefully they make the right trade, because if they don't, they may be getting ready for the NBA lottery. With all that being said, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I'm going to see you guys on the next video. Comment beneath. Did I miss anything? Let me know.